Hello everyone. So we're from group 20. So let me introduce myself. My name is Darren Matana Guntara. Joining me today is my group mates that are George William Thomas, Phoebe Ivana, and Kania Adila Firka. So in this video we're going to do a step-by-step tutorial on how to install and configure Apache Cloudstack. So the first thing that we have to do, or the first step, is we have to install the Ubuntu 24.04 LTS version. So what we have to do is we have to change the SATA operation from driver to the ASCII. Then we have to download an Ubuntu image from the Ubuntu website. Then we have to install the Ubuntu desktop by writing the downloaded ISO to USB stick. Then we have to insert the USB flash drive to the laptop that we're using. Then boot or restart the device. So it will automatically recognize the installation media. And lastly, do the usual installation setup and also create the login details. So the second step is to do the network configuration. So we have to modify the network configuration file. So how to do it, we can do using this command. So firstly, we can change the directory to the net plan, and we can open the file using the following command. Okay, here the file or the YAML file is open. So we have previously configured the network, so you can just copy this configuration and paste it to your YAML file. Okay, so after that we have to apply the configuration. So after modifying the YAML file, we have to apply the configuration with the following command. So firstly, we have to use this command. Sudo netpad generate. Then after that we have to use this command. Sudo netpad apply, and lastly we have to reboot. Okay, so after doing the reboot, we have already applied the configuration for the network configuration. So we move on to the step 3, or the third step, to install the monitoring tools. So firstly, what we have to do is we have to log in as the root user to ensure that we have the necessary administrative privilege. So we can do it by using this command sudo space and dash. So after logging in as the root user, we have to update the system package. So before installing any tools, update and upgrade the system to the latest package version. So we can use this command. So in this command, we update the system to the latest package, and with the other command that we have to do after this is apt update upgrade strip y. So that command will also try to upgrade the system to the latest package. Okay, so next we can do the second command. Okay, so after the update and the upgrade is finished, we can now move to installing the monitoring and utility tools. So we can do that using this command. And the other one is this command. So after doing that, we have already installed the monitoring and utility tools that we need to monitor and manage the system resources. So for example, the HTOP is a monitoring tools of CPU and process usage. The DUF is a monitoring tools of disk and usage. The Links is a text-based web browser, and the Bridge strip utils is a tools for managing network bridges.
For step 4, the next step 4, we will configure SSH. If you have already done this at the start, when you first install Ubuntu, you have the option to install OpenSSH server. When you've done that, you can skip this section, but if you haven't, you copy this command and you put it in, you paste it into your machine and enter, and it will install SSH server. Once you've done that, you will want to enable SSH root login. This is an important step needed for Apache Cloudstack later. It will allow SSH as root directly without using any other user. So here you will just copy this and then paste it. Since I've already done it, I don't want to restart my SSH. But once you've done it, you can see if you open up a new if you open up your terminal, you can just you can SSH straight to the machine with the command SSH, the username of the machine, cloud20, or if you prefer using root, you can enter as root and then add the IP of the machine. So hope you know the IP of your machine. Mine is so if you enter, you can just input your password and you'll be inside your machine like a normal machine. Okay, next up is step 5, is to install Apache Cloudstack and MySQL. So first, so the problem with Apache Cloudstack is that if you use apt advanced package tool, so if you install things from sudo apt get install something, usually most things are already configured there, but not for Apache Cloudstack. So for this case, we want to input this command, which will essentially add the repository of Apache Cloudstack into apt, so you can download it using apt get install. So first, to make everything easier, you want to put sudo -i command. This will put you in root, and then you want to copy all of this to add the settings. So basically allow apt to install Apache Cloudstack directly. Since I've already done that, I won't show you. I won't be pasting it inside. It might break some things, but just copy paste this, simple as that. And then you need this step support. You need to update. So by updating, you will apply the changes that you've made in this folder, in this apt folder. Once you just copy paste it. Once you've updated the apt, you just install it like a normal install. So here we will install Cloudstack Management and MySQL Server, both at once. Once it's done, you can simply continue on to the next step, which is to install to configure MySQL. Here you want to edit this file, this config file. Inside there there will be a section with the name mysqld. So under this section, you want to copy all of this thing and just paste it below that. After, you can press Ctrl and Enter to save, and Ctrl X to exit. Once you've done that, you want to restart your MySQL service. Just copy paste it, and then you also want to deploy a new Cloudstack database as root. So here you want to put your server IP. In my case, basically the IP of your machine. So here it's 19, and here this what you want to change is the password. So the password for your root. In my case is cloud20, and when you enter it, it will set up database and say okay, and all of that. You just wait for it. Once it's done, we go to the next step, which is to configure your network file system server. Okay, so first you need to install NFS kernel server and quota. You can do this by simply copy and pasting this. It will install. I've already installed it, so it's fast, but usually it takes a while, just like Cloudstack management. Then you run this command to make sure to create two folder for the NFS server. So the export primary folder and export secondary folder. I won't be doing this because I've already done, but you just copy and paste it, and then assign specific ports for NFS service by simply copy pasting this. So this will set up ports for mount D, stat D, and quota D service of NFS. You just copy and paste that once you enter, and once you're done, we go to the next step, which is step 6, just setting up KVM for Cloudstack. So what is KVM? KVM is basically a kernel virtual machine, a virtual machine that is needed to set up a Cloudstack. So in Apache Cloudstack, you will be making VMs that you can use. You'll be distributing hardware and software resources for those VMs. And how do you distribute it? How do you distribute this? It's using KVM. So first of all, we need to install, of course, KVM, and then Cloudstack agent for to manage as the agent of the Cloudstack management. Yeah. Okay. And once you're done, you simply modify these documents. You can copy paste this line. This line will make sure that the KVM listens to all IP addresses, so from 0000, so all IP addresses. Okay, and next is this command, which will enable the service libvirt from KVM to listen to remote connections. So you can connect to the VM through this command, through this configs. Okay, and there is also all of this config. I've already added them, so you can just copy paste it. So what this will do is turn off TLS connections so basically to allow the connection without using TLS, and make sure TCP connection is available. Set the TCP port of the libvirt service to 6.16509. Switch off the DNS ads and turn off TCP authentication. Then just copy and paste that into your machine. And next is to mask the sockets of libvirt that you don't use anymore, that we won't be using. You mask that so that it basically doesn't launch, it doesn't start, so it doesn't use unnecessary resources, and then you restart libvirt to apply this masking configurations. Next, to create Docker with bridge networking system configurations. Here you can just copy this command. This will make sure that the ARP tables and the IP tables don't filter bridge network packets. So I've done that, so you can just copy and paste it, and then you want to create individual host UID. So all you do is first you install, you can just copy all of this, but basically what it does is it installs the UID package. It creates a new UID and then it puts the UID into the Liberty configuration, so that you have a UID host, a host UID for the Liberty service, and then you restart it to apply the changes. Since I've already done this, I won't be showing you, but you can just copy and paste that into the machine. Next is to set up firewall rules in IP table. So what you want is you want to set up firewall rules to make sure that the communication from any device into this uh, Cloudstack host, basically into this machine that will host the Cloudstack Apache Cloudstack service, available by allowing all of these ports to be accessed. The network should be the network of your host of your machine. So, for example, my machine, put IP address. You can see that my machine is in the 192.168.10/24 network. So you want to use that network of this machine, of your machine, and then just copy paste this, change the network, copy all this, and just uh, paste it in here. Since I've already done that, I won't be doing that. And next is to install IP tables per system. This is to make sure the IP tables, the configuration of these IP tables are persistent. Okay, once you've done that, you can again go to the next step, copy this command. This command is to turn off Liberty app armor profiles. So it's to avoid limitation that can disrupt virtualization services. Okay, go ahead and copy paste that. So this here it says unable to remove. That's because I've already removed it before. Next up is to start the Apache Cloudstack management server. You can just go ahead and copy that. So what this will do is the first step will start the management. Second step will check the status of the Cloudstack management, and the third one will show you the logs in real time of the management server. So if everything goes wrong, if something went wrong, something goes wrong, you can check it after. So since I've already set up the management, and I can just copy this to line, but you have to copy the whole line, just paste in your machine. So what it will show is, first it will show the status. So Cloudstack management status is active running. Oh. And the second one, it will show a um, live logs of the system working.
So after a successful installation, we open a browser and go to the IP and add colon 8083. Okay, and we're gonna put the default for the username and password. Okay, we're gonna wait. Okay, and this opens the Cloudstack dashboard where we're gonna begin our zone configuration. So first we navigate to infrastructure menu and we're gonna choose zone in the drop down and click add zone. Okay, so first we choose the zone type, which defines the architecture of our data center. And here we chose core because it supports scalable configuration and allows us more control over networking and virtualization, which is perfect for a hands-on learning experience. Okay, next. Then we define how networking will work in the zone. And in this part, we're going to choose the advanced model because it gives us more control and also support multiple quests, networks, VLANs, and firewall. And since we wanted a realistic cloud simulation, so advanced was the clear choice. Next, we're gonna fill in the zone details, and these are our best setting. First, for the name, we're gonna put zone trip 20, but you can put any name you want. And for the IP for DNS, we're gonna put the Google public DNS. Okay, and for other fields, we can leave it empty since it's not required in our setting right now. Next, for the internal DNS, we're gonna put our router's IP address. And next, we're gonna choose hypervisor. We're gonna choose KVM. Okay, and we choose KVM because it's widely supported, stable, and compatible with Linux, and it's also open source, so it's a great choice for educational and production environments. Then, for the GUAS CIDR, we're gonna leave as default because it's standard preference suitable for GUAS VM networks, and it's enough for our demo to avoid unnecessary complexity. Okay, we're gonna go next. Okay, in this part, as no custom layout or hardware-specific features are needed, so the setting is maintained at default. Then next, okay, now we configure the public traffic, which connects VM to the outside network. For the gateway, we're gonna put our router IP. Okay, and for the NAT mask, we're gonna choose this. And for the start IP, we're gonna choose 168. We chose a small IP range on purpose because it's enough for demo VMs without interfering with other devices in the network. And for the VLAN field, we're gonna leave it empty because we're using untagged traffic, and leaving it blank means Cloudstack treats this as a flat network, which is acceptable for simple setups or test environments. Next. Okay. Next, for the pod name, we're gonna choose pod 20. Okay, this is the same as before. Okay, so that's the net max. And for ID, GI parents, we're gonna choose this IP range is used for system VMs and internal traffic. Again, we use a short range for simplicity and to avoid IP conflicts. Next. Okay, we're gonna add the VLAN range. We're gonna choose 3,300 until 3,300. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so this VLAN range is reserved for GUAS networks, and each GUAS network can be assigned a separate VLAN ID to improve isolation and security. Okay. Next. Okay, we're gonna put the cluster name as cluster dot cluster 20. Okay. Next. Okay, so this host provides the physical compute power for our VMs, and we use the server's IP and root access for full control. We're gonna put the host name, the same name as the IP. 92. Okay, 1219. So name, we're gonna write it root here. And for the password, init anything. Okay, next. Okay, now we're into the next one is primary storage. We're gonna name it as primary key. For the scope, we're gonna choose zone, and protocol NFS. We chose NFS for its simplicity and because it's supported out of the box by Cloudstack, and setting the scope to zone means the storage is accessible to all clusters in the zone. For the server, we put the IP we used as the host before. Okay, and this is for the path, primary. Okay, and this we're gonna leave it as default primary. Next, okay, for the provider we choose NFS. For the name, we're gonna name it secondary strip 20, and for the server, same as before. And for the path, we're gonna choose report secondary. Okay, so okay, maybe we can go back before. So the storage is used for ISO files, templates, and snapshots, just like primary storage. And we use NFS to keep things simple and centralized. Next, finally, we can click launch zone. Cloudstack then initialize the host, networking, and storage. And once it completes, the zone is active and ready to host virtual machines. Okay, here we're just gonna wait. Then, after successfully creating and enabling a zone, the next step is to register an ISO. This ISO will be used to deploy virtual machine in a zone. And to begin registering the ISO, first we navigate to the images menu, and we're gonna select ISOs from the dropdown. Once we're on the ISO page, we're gonna click on a button that says register ISO. And this will open the form where we can enter the details of the ISO file that we want to register. And here's how to fill it out. First, for the URL field, we're gonna enter the direct download link of the ISO. And in this case, we are using the official Ubuntu server ISO that we got from the internet. We're just gonna copy the link address and paste it here. Then next, we're gonna give it the recognizable name. I'm just gonna put Ubuntu server here. And then we're gonna provide a short description. It can be anything you want. I'm just gonna put Ubuntu server cloud 20. And for the direct download, we're gonna put this toggle disabled because Cloudstack will handle the ISO retrieval itself. Enabling this is only required if you're using a local environment or special networking needs. And for the zone, we're gonna select the zone that we previously created, zone 20. And for the bootable, we're gonna turn this toggle on because this marks the ISO as bootable, which is essential for creating VMs. And for the OS type, we're gonna choose other Ubuntu since the Ubuntu that we chose isn't in the option. Other Ubuntu 64-bit. Okay, now we're gonna scroll down to the bottom part of the form. And here we'll see several additional fields like user data, extractable, public, and featured. And for our use case, we will leave all of this as they are, so we don't enable or change anything here. And these are the reasons why. For the user data and user data link policy, these are only used if we want to automatically configure our virtual machine at startup using scripts. And since we're not doing that right now, we can safely skip this. And for the extractable, this will allow users to download the ISO later on, and we'll keep it off because we don't need that functionality for internal VM creation. And for the public, if we turn this on, the ISO becomes available to all users. And for now, we want it to be private for our account, so we'll leave it off. And for the last part, featured, this is more for visually highlighting the ISO in a shared environment. And again, it's not needed for our current setup. So to summarize, we simply leave all these options as they are and with no changes made. and we're gonna click OK. Okay, we're gonna wait. And with the ISO now registered, we can proceed to create virtual machines in the Zone 20 using this Ubuntu server image that we just created.
Okay, so for the next step is to create an instance. Why is that so? Because we want to create a VM, or we want to launch a VM. Therefore, we have to select the deployment infrastructure as follows. There are zone, pod, clusters, and hosts that we have to fill. We have to fill these fields with the previous one that we've already created. So for the zone, we choose zone 20. For the pod is pod 20. For the cluster is cluster 20. For the host is cloud 20. And after that, for the template or ISO, we choose the previous one that we have already registered before, which is the Ubuntu server. And we choose the KVM hypervisor because from the initial setup process, we also choose the KVM, right? So the next step is to choose the compute offering. We choose the medium one because we want to play safe. We want to spare some spaces. The same goes for the disk size. And if you guys want to choose the small ones, it's really okay, but if you think it's enough, it's okay, but we really recommend you to use the medium one. For the network, use the default one that we've already created before, which is isolated 20. Leave everything by default and we launch the instance. Okay, after that, what we should do, so here we have to open the network, which is here, and you can find the section egress rule. We have to define the egress rule. Why is that so? Because we want to allow our VM to send traffic to outer IP on the internet, and also we want to allow our VM to connect to any IP through the TCP for the SSH and also for the HTTP. Therefore, we have to define the egress rules. The source, we're using the range of the IP range for the VM or of the VM, which is 10.110/0. The destinations is all 0000/0. The protocols that we would like to define is two. Sorry, there are two protocols that we would like to define. The first one is the ICMP for the send traffics, and there are no ports, -1. Okay, I'm sorry, I think I filled it wrong. Let's try again. There you go. We're successfully creating the new egress rule, and for the next step, we're creating for the TCP. The source is the same. Sorry. The source is the same, the destination is the same. The protocols is different, so the starting port is 1 and the end is 65535. Okay, for the next one, we have to define the port forwarding. So click the public IP addresses, click the IP addresses, and there you go, port forwarding. So here, why we should define the port forwarding, because we allow external access to our internal services sorry, let me redefine that. So why we should define the port forwarding, because we are allowing external access to our services inside the VM. Therefore, we have to forward all the TCP ports from the public IP to the internal IP. I mean like the VM internal IP. So we have to define it here. The private port is 1 until 65535. The same goes for the public one, 65535. And just add it. Okay. And there you go. The last one is to define the firewall. Why is that so? Because even though we are already defined the egress rule, if we have not defined the firewall, it won't work, because firewall is basically is like the main gate. So we have to define it here because we want to allow the SSH access and also the web server access. Therefore, we have to define the firewall as follows. So the source CIDR is 0000/0. The protocols is obviously TCP because we want to allow the SSH. So the stop port and the end port is 22. Okay, so the next one is the same for the source CIDR. And the protocols is also the same, but for the port is different because we want to allow the HTTP. So define it as 80. Sorry. There you go. So now everything should work out. Let's just try the web server access by plugging in or entering the VM's IP here. Let's try. So there you go, it works.